Jeff Sessions' confirmation hearing for Attorney General took place last week. And if you're like me, watching 2 days of wall-to-wall Senate hearings was not a luxury you could afford. And so, you might have missed the part where he got 2 questions in a row about marijuana law enforcement. Luckily for you, I have those clips to share, along with my analysis. The first weed question came from Democratic Senator Patrick Leahy from Vermont. He asked a question that's likely on the minds of many growers, dispensary owners, and medical marijuana patients across the nation. You'll hear Senator Leahy's voice off camera in this first clip from the hearing.
Would you use our federal resources to investigate and prosecute sick people who are using marijuana in accordance with their state laws, even though it might violate federal law?
Will Jeff Sessions use federal resources to investigate and prosecute sick people that use medical marijuana? You may know that during the Obama administration, federal protections were put in place so that medical marijuana businesses couldn't be prosecuted so long as they followed the state guidelines that governed their medical marijuana programs. So will Jeff Sessions renew these protections?
Well, I won't commit to never enforcing federal law, Senator Leahy.
That sounded pretty weaselly to me.
Well, I won't commit to never enforcing federal law, Senator Leahy, but absolutely it's a problem of resources for the federal government. The Department of Justice under Lynch and Holder set forth some policies that they thought were appropriate to define what cases should be prosecuted.
So, Sessions won't commit to keeping sick people who use cannabis and their providers out of jail. While he acknowledged that the federal government just doesn't have the resources necessary to continue pursuing the war on drugs, he left the door wide open when it comes to the possibility of reinstating costly and unnecessary drug war tactics. Next, Senator Leahy followed up by pointing to Sessions' career-long and noteworthy anti-marijuana stance.
You've been some very strong views. You even mandated the death penalty for anyone convicted of a second drug trafficking offense, including marijuana, even though mandatory death penalties are, of course, unconstitutional.
The way this guy holds back this smile makes me nauseous. As if this is a joke. As if these legitimate concerns put forward by the people he's supposed to be representing are just a source of amusement for him. Here's the rest of his response.
Well, I'm not sure under what circumstances I said that, but I don't think that sounds like something I would normally say. We're glad to look at it.
Would you say that's not your view today?
It is not my view today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Damn it, Senator Leahy, you gave him too easy of an out. Now I'm left here just wondering, under what circumstances, Senator Sessions, would you say a thing like that? What would you normally say when confronted with the possibility of mandating the death penalty for a second-time drug offender? If that's not your view today, then what is? After the exchange between Leahy and Sessions, the next question came from Mike Lee, a Republican from Utah. His question was pretty much on the same lines as Leahy's question. It was just way more complicated and convoluted. You'll hear his voice off camera in the next clip.
My question to you is, did the way they respond to that federalism concern run afoul of separation of powers? Did the department's approach to this issue that they identified as a federalism issue contravene the understanding that we are the lawmaking body, the executive branch is the law enforcing body?
Huh?
Well, I'm not sure I fully understand the point of your question.
Yeah, me neither, Jeff. I guess we agree on at least one thing.
You're talking about separation of powers within the federal government, the
Yes.
3 branches of federal government.
Yes.
And how does that implicate the marijuana laws?
Yes. Are there separation of powers concerns arising out of the Department of Justice's current approach to state marijuana laws?
Basically, what I think he's asking is if Sessions has any concerns about separation of power between Congress, the people who make the laws, and the Department of Justice, the people who enforce them.
One obvious concern is that the United States Congress has made the possession of marijuana in every state and distribution of it an illegal act. So if that's something is not desired any longer, Congress should pass a law to change the rule. It's not so much the Attorney General's job to decide what laws to enforce. We should do our job and enforce laws effectively as we're able.
Thank you.
Senator Sessions' answer here is really quite interesting to me. He's saying that as Attorney General, it wouldn't be his job in any way, shape, or form to set the law, and that if Americans don't want current marijuana laws enforced, then Congress just ought to change the law. Jeff, most Americans believe that marijuana ought to be legal. Recent polling data shows that somewhere around 80% of Americans are in favor of legalizing marijuana for medical use. And somewhere around 60% of Americans believe that all adults over 21 should have access to marijuana. Jeff, Americans in fact do not want the current federal marijuana laws enforced. And that's why the Justice Department did something about it. Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch did the best they could to stand up for the American people while the Congress sat on their hands with this issue. That's the same Congress you've been a part of for the last 20 years. If you like this video, go back and check out my 2 previous videos about Jeff Sessions. I'm keeping an eye on you, Senator Sessions.